holding Republicans back. Shame. This is just another day. For years, Republicans were the supposed party of fiscal responsibility, family values, and free speech. But evidently, times have changed.
There's free speech, and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything. And that's across the aisle.
Of course, across the aisle. Whether it's some radical left liberal thug writing demeaning words online that Pam Bondi finds abhorrent, or just some well-meaning Republican who falls asleep at their keyboard and accidentally types some hateful rhetoric like this.
They're evil people in many ways.
Yup, Pam Bondi will pursue either type of hate speech equally. There's just one small problem with Bondi's hate speech vow. It's not legal. I'm not sure if the Attorney General of the United States is aware, but the First Amendment of the Constitution provides sweeping protections for free speech, hateful or not, as long as that speech does not directly incite violence. And I'm not the only one to point this out. Even Ted Cruz came out to publicly correct Bondi, because Cruz knows that whether it's people saying hateful things online or just a single person saying hateful things about your wife to your face that leads you to endorse them for president, that vile speech is protected by the First Amendment. But I'm sure our president corrected the record on this whole hate speech, free speech debacle, right?
And what do you make Pam Bondi saying she's going to go after hate speech? Is that, I mean, a lot of your allies say hate speech is free speech.
She'll probably go after people like you because you treat me so unfairly. It's hate. You have a lot of hate in your heart.
Right. Trump has separated families, struck fear into the hearts of immigrants, run cover for a notorious pedophile and his principal accomplice, demeaned large swaths of black government officials as DEI hires, vilified the entire LGBTQ community. But sure, Jonathan Karl is the one with hate in his heart. But back to the actual question about policing free speech in this country.
Look, we want everything to be fair. It hasn't been fair. And the radical left has done tremendous damage to the country. But we're fixing it.
Huh. It's a bit odd that Trump didn't rush to the defense of free speech, considering
I've stopped all government censorship and brought back free speech in America. It's back.
I guess to Trump, free speech is kind of like the McRib. It was back, but for a limited time. And how about those Republicans being the stalwarts of fiscal responsibility and the rooters out of government waste? Well, today, at an oversight hearing on Capitol Hill, FBI Director Kash Patel explained why Republicans are still those people. It's just complicated.
You were rightly critical of the way that the previous FBI director used the FBI jet. And you said you wanted to ground Chris Wray's private jet travel that he pays for with taxpayer dollars to hop around the country. Let me ask you this. You know, on the weekend of, according to flight tracker data, on the weekend of March 7th, an FBI plane flew round trip from D.C. to Las Vegas, and you attended a UFC fight with Mel Gibson.
Hold on, maybe it was a research project? I mean, this administration says they want to root out all forms of anti-Semitism, and what better way to do that than by getting into the mind of one of the country's biggest anti-Semites? But I'll let Kash answer.
Yeah, you want to know the difference? I live in Las Vegas. I'm allowed to go home. I didn't leave a congressional hearing early on an FBI jet to dodge questions. And what I've done with the use of the private jet is use Andrews Air Force Base versus Reagan National as what the other directors have done to save the taxpayer dollars.
Yep, Kash isn't being hypocritical here about government waste. He's just pissed that the prior administration used the wrong Air Force Base for takeoff. Let's just remember this in the future when the Trump administration gets called out for signing documents with an auto pen and then claims that the issue with Biden all along was actually that he used the wrong type of ink. And what about the whole Republicans are the party of family values thing? Because there's something about covering up for a child molester that doesn't feel so family values-y to me.
Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
Hang on. Is Kash Patel really trying to convince us that no one else was abusing these young women and girls and that it was only Jeffrey Epstein on that list? Isn't there someone with some sense that could perhaps persuade the FBI director? Hold on. I think I know just the person.
Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
Now, if only we can get those two guys in a room together. The truth is, Republicans have been able to commit all of these insane acts of hypocrisy thanks to one thing: the absence of shame. Which definitely sounds like the name of a cologne that Matt Gaetz would be the spokesperson for. See, not that long ago, Republicans were like other normal people in society and actually felt shame when confronted with past mistakes or acts of hypocrisy, which is a perfectly normal emotion to feel when you sense that you've overstepped. Maybe your brain tells you not only have you let others down, but you've let yourself down too. And a healthy dose of shame is not to be looked down on. It serves as an emotional regulator, a backstop that lets you hit pause on whatever bad thing you're doing or a self-righteous emotion that you're feeling and recalibrate to an ideally less bad or more thoughtful thing. If you'll indulge me on a walk down memory lane, do you remember a Republican presidential candidate and man who many thought would ruin this country if elected, Mitt Romney? We were so young. Well, during his run for the presidency, some damning information came out about Romney's past. No, not that he sexually assaulted a woman in a dressing room or spent his nights partying with a billionaire pedophile and that man's sex trafficking girlfriend. It was way worse.
Presidential candidate Mitt Romney accused of bullying a very vulnerable fellow student when he was in high school.
Yes, that bombshell allegation led to nightly news. And what did Mitt Romney do when faced with assertions that he'd been a total dick in high school?
There's no question but that I did some stupid things when I was in high school. And obviously, if I hurt anyone by virtue of that, I would be very sorry for it and apologize for it.
An apology. Can you imagine a world where one of those is made by a Republican presidential candidate, let alone any single Republican at all today? Not a chance in hell. Those days are gone, and it's all thanks to this man. Donald Trump has taught Republicans that they don't have to feel shame anymore. He's taught them that just because the whole world can see your mistakes doesn't mean you have to feel bad about it, or apologize for it, or even acknowledge that any of those mistakes even took place. And in fact, anyone who says they did is going to get sued into oblivion. Does it matter that Republicans are breaking campaign promises left and right? Does it matter that they've railed against non-existent election rigging, but are now redrawing voting maps so that they can rig elections? Does it matter that multiple heads of their agencies sat at their Senate confirmation hearings and promised to do one thing, but are now being exposed as complete liars while they do the opposite? Does it matter that they've traversed the country, holding rally after rally, whipping up a fervor over having free speech protected, but are now doing everything in their power to police free speech? Yes, it does matter. Just not to them. But hey, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm expecting too much from our elected officials. Maybe I want accountability for their past transgressions. Or maybe there's some other completely rational diagnosis altogether for what I'm feeling.
You have a lot of hate in your heart.
That must be it. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for